Good morning, what's up? Man, I'm so happy to be here, not stuck in my office. I'm extra pumped to be here today, talking to you. Been praying for all of you. It's been a tough time, but we're struggling through it. But how about our church, CFC? Have they not done this awesome job, going from 0 online services to every single week, killing it? Caleb, every morning at 7:30 a.m. with a couple guests. Man, I have enjoyed morning worship every morning at 7:30 as much as possible. This series on put off, put on, it's been so awesome. Phil, Brian, Pete have really impacted my life, my family's life, and it's all of a sudden become like one of my top series that I've ever seen in a church. I just absolutely love it. And it's talking about Ephesians. What's Ephesians? It's a book in the Bible that Paul wrote, and he's writing this letter to the church in Ephesus. Paul's a guy that a lot of times he sends these letters to churches to tell them how to do it, how not to do it. He's definitely the leader when it comes to teaching pastors and church leaders how to treat their congregation and their people, and he does an awesome job. But who am I? Why am I up here? What am I doing on this stage? Well, I've been a guy that guest preaches at churches sometimes, and I've worked with kids in kids ministry, high school ministry, and I was teaching something one time and messing with the guys after our lesson and playing games, and on the way out, a couple of the guys started calling me the tattooed preacher, and it stuck. So I'm Kevin Kolb. I'm the tattooed preacher, and I've been called a whole lot of names my whole life, and I'm actually kind of proud of this one finally. Where do I preach? I preach a lot on the streets, out there in public. I preach a lot at addictions recovery things, institutions, jails I love to preach in. And I'm not a pastor, I'm just, I guess I'd call myself, if I had to label myself, more of an evangelist than anything, But I'm not a pastor, and I'm not sure that God's ever going to lead me to do that, lead a church. But I think the greatest thing I do is just try to help a broken addict. God's got this plan for me, and who knows what he has planned next. He's not really into telling me what he's going to do next, and that gets frustrating at times, but that's a whole other message, okay? So I do my thing out there connecting with people that are lost, broken. I love to connect with those people that are lost and get in their world, get on their level, and allow them to trust me so that maybe I can tell them my story to give them hope. I feel like I'm this blocker for Jesus, and anytime I meet with somebody, I tell them I'm just this guy that wants to get in their world and block for them. I played football my whole life, started as a little kid, and like in high school, I became this middle linebacker, and a middle linebacker's job is to, obviously, it's the most fun position on the field on defense, and you get to just really go after whoever has the ball. You don't have a whole lot of jobs, but a lot of time when the ball's run up the middle, they have a lead blocker called a fullback. And my job was to hit that fullback as hard as I could, put my head down legally, and just clog that hole up, and just let somebody else now focus on getting the guy with the ball, tackling the man with the ball, usually a halfback. And that's what I still feel like I'm doing. I still feel like I'm just causing this, I'm blocking these old behaviors, I'm blocking these patterns which we've learned so that Jesus can get in and do his job. In the end, my goal is 100% to just arm in arm walk these guys to the feet of Jesus. I think Paul does that a lot. And through that, he challenges us. He's a very challenging dude. Like in Ephesians 4, he challenges me so much with what I've heard these guys do, and really steps on my feet a lot. It's this message of put off old behaviors and put on new behaviors. And I think I've gotten that backwards at times. I don't know about you, but a lot of times I can get stuck putting on the new before I put off the old. And I'll give you an example. Like a lot of us, And I've been there. A lot of us will put on that Christian outfit. We'll put on that Christian shirt. We'll come into church and talk the way Christians think they're supposed to talk. And we'll act the way we believe on the outside that a Christian acts. But yet, we haven't changed the inside. And all those dark, angry behaviors can come out when there's a struggle. See, the old has to die before you put on the new. Or to me, it's really just fake. So I want you to know here, I want you to know up front, I'm not judging anyone here. There is absolutely no judgment. I am right there with you in all these behaviors, and I have to actually yell at myself. I mean, I really yell at myself. There's times where I will act a certain way or see this old behavior come back, and I'm like, hey, look in the mirror and be like, hey, dude, we don't do that anymore. Or yo, chill. We've moved past all that. So I'm not judging y'all. I'm here to connect in a way to allow me to tell my story, to share with you a little bit of my struggle, to let you see that anyone out there can connect with Jesus if you give him the wheel. So that leads me to our reading today, and it's Ephesians 4:28. Let's read it together. The one who steals must steal no longer. Rather, he must labor, doing good with his own hands, so that he may have something to share with the one who has need. Man, that instantly takes me back to my old life. I've been the guy to steal. I didn't necessarily rob banks or steal cars, but what I did is I would scam banks into lending me money so that I could buy things, and I never really had an intention to pay them back. That's stealing. Now, maybe you have a past like me, and you've been troubled, and you've done some things really, really wrong, but maybe you haven't. Maybe you're sitting there saying, I'm not a thief, I don't steal. And my question to you is, really? Let's talk about what stealing is. Stealing is, for those of you that go to work, a 7 to 3:30 job, maybe you're an office assistant, maybe you're in construction, and you clock out and leave 5 minutes earlier than you're supposed to. Maybe you're at work all day, and you're scrolling through Facebook. Maybe you're scrolling through Snapchat. Maybe you're making a TikTok video. Who knows? That's stealing. If you're supposed to be at work, if you're at work, you're supposed to be working, right? We're not supposed to be there scrolling on Facebook, right? Maybe there's a lot of horseplay. Maybe you screw around a lot at work. You're getting paid to work. That's stealing. Or maybe you're a business owner, right? Maybe you're a business owner that just kind of fudges the numbers a little bit for tax time. Or maybe you have a credit card that you use and don't necessarily use that credit card for company things, more personal things. Maybe you have a vehicle that's paid through the company and it's not supposed to be. That is also stealing. So let's not just focus on the extreme guys, the bank robbers, those car thieves. Let's focus on ourselves right now. Focus within. For me, I was able to forgive myself for the theft of the monetary things. Early recovery for me, I really worked hard on forgiving myself for those things. But what I had a lot of trouble doing was forgiving myself for the thing I stole, which is most precious to us, and that's time. That's been really hard for me to let go. I've stolen time from my family back then. I have robbed my children of time with their dad. I have stolen memories. I have just totally robbed their happiness and joy with my dark behaviors. And all the time I was climbing this ladder to escape reality. I was climbing to get higher and higher, to get further and further away. And, the only thing that's allowed me to forgive myself at some level is my relationship with Jesus. But I'm not going to tell you that I still don't get sad thinking back to those mistakes. And maybe you aren't as extreme as I am. And you can say to yourself, I never get high and didn't come home. I'm just not that guy. Maybe your ladder may be this like promotion. Maybe your ladder, you're just climbing up this ladder for the promotion so that you can make enough money to be enough for somebody. And then you got to climb higher. And maybe this ladder is this climb to a relationship that'll allow you to feel better about yourself, looking for someone to save you from things. It's this ladder, you just keep climbing, this relationship ladder. Or maybe you're somebody that needs to go even higher, and this comparison ladder is something you keep climbing, like you have to keep up with the Joneses. Or it's a corporate ladder. But the more you climb this ladder, the further you get away. And if this is your focus of this climb, this may be this escape, you've climbed all the way away from the people that love you most. See, time is so precious. You know, we've had this COVID thing hit us, right? And it's not been easy, and I don't want anybody to think I'm downplaying any of the loss or the struggles the family have of missing someone. I'm not downplaying that at all. But I've gotten to deal with some things through this COVID thing, and I have to look at everything through a lens of struggle for purpose. I can't be a victim in anything. And we've really had this in our mission. Most of you know that our mission is helping guys. We had this monetary struggle instantly from COVID. In one day, we started struggling with money. But can I tell you the adjustments the guys made, you know, the pivoting to deal with something has like more value than any amount of money we didn't gain in our construction company. Not just that. I've had to again look at how I'm stealing time from my family. I've gotten the opportunity during COVID to do so many amazing things that because of work, I wasn't taking the time to do. Every morning, most mornings, I get to have breakfast with those three. Sometimes I get to make them breakfast. A lot of afternoons, I get to have lunch with these two beauties, my twin girls, and Mom. And it's been beautiful. It's been the most beautiful time in my life to adjust to that. I've even gotten to teach this dude how to shoot a BB gun. And by the way, he's hunting bear right there. That's what he's telling me. And moose. It's been amazing. And I know COVID is a really tough time. But I think for the adults, we'll say it's been a really tough time. But how about the kids? I think our kids are going to remember COVID as this time where they got to eat breakfast, lunch, and learn to shoot a BB gun with Dad. How are you seeing this time? Paul's next line. Rather, he must labor, doing good with his own hands. How are you seeing that word labor, right? I used to be a construction worker. I went to work every day. I worked pretty hard. I dug a lot of ditches. But that's not how I want you to see that word labor. Anybody that's been part of a childbirth, present for childbirth, knows what the word labor means. Now, there's early labor, which is, you know, she's still got an apple there. She's got makeup on. She looks pretty good. You know, she's a little wincing. That's not the labor I want you to, I want you to define it that way. This labor is that angry, screaming, yelling, painful, sweating, intense struggle, cursing at your husband, throwing things maybe at him like my wife did to me. Labor is supposed to be a struggle. God intends for us to work hard, to struggle through things. How do I know that? James 1. James 1 says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." What's James saying? He is saying embrace the struggle because it has meaning. Love the struggle. The struggle is what's going to build our confidence. We're going to be complete through it. Just like that labor, that mom that was in labor, the end result has amazing, amazing value. God is telling us there's huge value at the result of that labor. So now you're probably sitting here thinking like, all right, man, what are you telling me? First you tell me to stop stealing time, slow down, and now you're telling me to work my butt off. Which is it? And my answer is both. There's this word called balance that I really struggle with, really struggle with. And that word is supposed to be used in our lives to do both in an extreme way, in my opinion. You know, I've always worked for everything, worked hard, and there's a reason for that. I think through my childhood, I really viewed everything as something that I had to put effort in. Love from mom and dad for me had contingencies. It was never free. So I've struggled with this balance thing. I've had to realize that there's this free gift of grace from God. If you're somebody that's had that struggle as a kid like I did and viewed it that way, you may want to look at that workaholic lifestyle. You may want to look at how much you're climbing to get what you want, because you might be leaving somebody behind. See, I spent years chasing love, chasing acceptance. I spent years chasing that feeling of I love you no matter what. And I figured out that acceptance was there as soon as I let Jesus into my heart. See, he helped me remove all the fear, all that fear of loss, betrayal. He helped me remove all of the anger issues, the money obsessions. You know, I still struggle, but I can say to myself in the mirror every day, you're enough. And it had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with what I read, nothing to do with what I read in the Bible, nothing to do how I spoke in church. It has nothing to do with that. My acceptance, my love comes not because of what I read in the Bible, but because of what Jesus did on the cross. So that takes us to the last line. So that he may have something to share with the one who has need. Again here, focus on you. Try not to point any fingers, because it's going to be real easy for some of you to not see within through all these lessons. But I want to go through the two most important words, in my opinion, in this whole message. So that. So first, Paul's telling us, stop stealing anything. Don't steal anything. Get to work and work hard, right? And do good. And then he says these two important words, so that. He says, so that he may have something to share. What he's saying is, stop being a taker. Give. That's really tough for some of us. He doesn't say, work hard so that you can fill your bank account or fill your closet with high heels or sneakers. He doesn't say any of that. He says, work hard so that you can share it with someone who needs it more than you do. It's 100% clear. Man, we live in this very selfish society, right? We are now the prison capital of the world. We have these selfish addictions that hurt families. Selfish is our most dangerous illness, in my opinion. And the cure is simply what Paul's saying. Paul tells us all through Ephesians that our spiritual growth is dependent, 100% dependent on community and connection. Do you get that? If we're going to grow spiritually, we're going to have to connect and give. Give whatever we can. I need you to look in the mirror. I need you to ask yourself and get real. Get brutally honest with yourself. Am I a giver or am I a taker? Am I serving those that need? So I want to challenge you. I want you to take a look at the screen here. This man here is a homeless man, right? He lives in the woods, okay? He's a fugitive on the run. He's committed adultery. He's cheated. and he's even killed a man. If that man walked through the doors here and we were just full in here, and you guys looked at him, and he did all these things, and you know that, would you run to him or would you run from him? Would you serve that man? But what if I told you this man and all these things he did was chosen by God? What if I told you that man is King David? A man that God chose to lead his people. A man God chose to call a man after my own heart. God called him that. Yeah, David did all those things. Homeless, lives in the woods, fugitive on the run from it, committed adultery, cheated, and then killed a man. And God chose him. If he can choose him, he can choose you. But will you serve him? Will you give to him? I hope you ask yourself that question numerous times today. And I hope that you continue meditating on this entire message in Ephesians 4:28. Because serving heals a lot of issues. It's the medicine for being a taker. See, everybody speaks of following Jesus, right? And it's easy to speak of following Jesus, but do you? Because when Jesus came here, he came here to serve. And not just talk about serving, he served. So are you following him? And if Jesus came here to serve, so will I. Jesus came here to challenge people, well, so will I. Jesus came here to speak the truth, the brutal truth. Therefore, so will I. Jesus fed, Jesus loved, Jesus forgave, Jesus gave everything he had. Jesus brutally died on a cross for me and for you. If Jesus knew the pain he was going through, right? He knew what he was going to face. And he could still send this beautiful message of love, of kindness, of forgiveness, of grace and mercy. And so will I. So today what I want to do to close is I just want to sing this song. I want to have Caleb sing this song, but I want you all to stand up at home. I really want to challenge you to stand up. And I want you to just belt out these words of this amazing song and question yourself.